Hello everyone, and today we go to the inky depths of the proving grounds to a long lost studio of Drewy Stew. Today we're talking about Bendy in the Ink Machine. So, Bendy in the Ink Machine has the appearance, if you were to look up video screenshots, it would look like a survival horror type title. But honestly, it's really more of an interactive story, more so. Almost closer to a walking simulator type game. Because while it does in certain chapters feature combat and fighting against things, it's very minimalistic, and dying has really no consequences. You respawn at a location somewhere at the map and continue exactly where you left off dying, assuming no bugs happen. So you start the game going into your old studio as you play as the artist who drew Bendy, came up with Bendy. Bendy being you could say a monocle of, I guess you could say it's a monocle of Walt Disney's career a bit. Though that can be a subjective opinion on that, but takes place during the black and white era of cartoons and that. So you go in the studio and you're investigating things, and you turn on this strange ink machine you find, and basically everything goes to hell as you fall deeper and deeper into where you used to work, finding out stranger and bizarro-ass things about it. You'll soon start finding inky creatures that will want you dead. And each chapter is a little different. The first chapter is very simple, slow, and, well, it's very short. It's more like a little tutorial. Chapter 2 and 3 will throw more things at you, getting combat and stuff involved. But like I said, there's not really a whole lot to the combat. There is a lot of puzzle solving, and not puzzle as in brain thinking, but as in looking around for objects so you can progress, like looking for valves, other items that you may need, hints and clues and passwords to open things, but not really anything big that involves a lot of thinking with your Lincoln thinking cap. Aesthetically, the game looks very nice. It's one of the things I like about the game. It has a very nice aesthetic look to it. Sound effect wise, it's alright. It gets the job done. I wouldn't say it's anything that wowed me specifically. And the voice acting does pretty good, as several characters' voice audio clips you find of people who knew and worked with Drew on Bendy and the career of his business. But you will find very strange things going on about in this studio. As I said, I would call it more of a story that you're interacting with more than a survival horror game, for the fact that there's really, like, you do have health. Like, there are ink soup cans you can get that heal you, but, like, that barely was a thing when I was playing. There was maybe, like, 2 times that ever was a thing for me. But it is a thing indeed. Boss fights, I mean, there are a few little boss fight-esque type things, but they're about the most puzzle-ish like thing there is. Very slight puzzling to them. But the game does try to do a few jump scares, and there's a few alright jump scares in the game, but overall, this is, I mean, like, this ain't Silent Hill. It's not Silent Hill where you have all kinds of inventory of things. You're trying to, honest to goodness, survive against a horrible town that's trying to murder you and shit. It's nowhere close to that level. Not even remotely. But you get 5 chapters, and you get an extra chapter that basically just gives you some developer insight. and a few little tidbits about some of the characters and the development of the game. So it's kind of like a little extras room, but you get 5 chapters. The game overall is really short. You're gonna get through the game pretty pretty quickly if you just keep playing it. The only thing that's going to probably delay you, which is going to be one of the big hindrance, one of the things that was a big problem for me, was bugs. So, Bendy's been out for a few years, and there was one very notorious bug in Chapter 3 where you have to hide from some monsters, and sadly, there's a high chance that when you go hide from these monsters in these hiding boxes you get access to, that there is a very, very strong chance that you'll get trapped in the box and you will not get out. And upon quitting the game, saves and shit, and it ends up basically corrupting your save file completely. Like, even if you start the game anew, it will not function properly. So I had to actually completely delete my entire game to get to work. It was very, very weird. Very bizarre. Very strange. But in the end, you do a few interesting little tasks here. Each chapter does change things up. Like in one chapter, you use ink blobs to make things. There's a little boat-wide segment later in the game too. That's a little off, a little weird, but it's a pretty simplistic little game of that. You're looking at about, let's see, I'd say about 5 to maybe 8 hours if you really have problems, which shouldn't really happen until later in the game. And you do actually, after you finish the game, you do get a slight motive to potentially replay the whole game, as you get a tool that you get late in the game, and you can use it to look around the entirety of the game for extra secrets, which is a little interesting, but I didn't really get too crazy about it. But it does add a little implications to the story of it. The game is $20 basically, brand new, on console, physically and digitally, so you're not going to find any differences in the price there. Used wise, it seems to go around $15 to $18, so you're not going to get too much of a gigantic discount. You're not going to find too much of a difference there, but I wouldn't be surprised if the game, console-wise, got cheaper over time. Honestly, Bendy didn't really wow me any. Like, I don't necessarily hate some of the ideas in the game, like the story is okay and that, but some of the bugs I experienced were really annoying. The Chapter 3 bug was very bad because I had to quit out. It corrupted the objective. I couldn't finish the objective. Then I replayed the entire game back up to that point, saved, then went on stream to continue from that point, only to find out the save wouldn't overwrite the original save, thus meaning it was still the corrupted save that had the fucked up objective. So I had to delete all of my data all over again, and then completely replay up to that point again. And you can probably see how that would be kinda annoying. And there are a few other very bad bugs like that where some objectives can get out of the area you need to be. So it's not, and considering this bug, the one I specifically ran into, exists in every version of the game still, it can be pretty bad. It can be pretty bad. Like I said, luckily you don't suffer any real penalty for dying, so you can always just not hide and die, which may delay you a little bit, but I mean, that's way better than fucking having to replay all the chapters all over again. could I really recommend Bendy and the Ink Machine? If you want, like, maybe something that's like a survival horror game that, well, isn't hard, then I would probably recommend it. But honestly, if you're looking for something that's challenging, you're not going to find much of that in Bendy. Like I said, to me, the best thing I enjoyed was just the aesthetics of the game. I liked it and a little bit of the story. The story overall leaves a lot up in the air, so you're not really sure of everything going on. But it does give a little bit to wonder and make theories over. Trophy-wise, if you're into trophy hunting, achievements, and such, it has a pretty even out of the usual. You got ones for being the chapters. You get ones for finding different things, and you got collectible ones. It's pretty much the usual kind of thing where to spread it out. Not too interesting though. It doesn't, like I said, when it comes to trophy type stuff, I always like looking at ones that find a fun way for you to have a little extra enjoyment with the game, and I don't feel like Bendy's does that. I mean, like I said, it's just some collectibles, finish so-and-so chapter, heal, and a few side extras. Nothing that really screamed, let's have some extra fun bowling for zombies, like in Dead Rising. I like just silly things like that sometimes. Overall, honestly, if you're looking for a survival horror game, you're looking in the wrong place, is my main point with Bendy. If you're looking for a bizarre storyline to theorize over, then Bendy would probably be more your thing. But a survival horror game, I would not call Bendy. More of a walking storyline, I would indeed call it. But I wouldn't necessarily say I hated everything. Some of the stuff, like I said, didn't help. Some of the bugs and delays to actually get to the end. And if you, like, one of the odd things is you can select chapters to play in as you get through, but you can't save when you're in that. So that's why I had to actually replay the game for anyone who's like, well, you can select chapters. When you select chapters, it actually straight out will tell you that you can't save. So you have to finish the entirety of the rest of the game that way if you do that. So it's just iffy. Very iffy. But if you want to know spoilers and such for the storyline, I'll leave you here. But if you want to experience the game, but you're not really, like, you're looking for more survival horror, then I would get cheap. I'd wait for it to be cheaper on sale or something like that. But if you like theorizing, then you could justify getting the game. I honestly think it's more of a $10 experience myself than a $20 experience, honestly. And originally this game was actually a GameStop exclusive when it came to the console versions. Then for some reason they started actually becoming available at Walmart and Kmart and everything, so it's not scarce, though originally it was actually becoming a little scarce, which is actually why I bought it, because I didn't want to fucking pay more money. There's nothing more terrible than a game becoming scarce that you may have a slight interest in that. I mean, this is definitely not a game I would recommend paying a whole lot more, but those are my thoughts there. So in the spoiler territory, so you explore and you find out lots of terrible, fucked up things have been happening in Drew's side of his career. So he'd been trying to make, like, living ink creatures. Like, he wanted to try and make Bendy a real thing. So he's been trying to make ink creatures real so he could make Bendy real. And then he started using people's souls and shit to give them souls and stuff, and it's just fucking really weird. But you keep going deeper and deeper, meeting a few other characters who have also became ink creatures and that, and you eventually start finding out that the Bendy So the original Bendy creature that got made is, well, a terrifying, horrible creature there. And it's basically have to kill everyone, and you have to end it. So you go and try to find a way to end it. And the way you find is that there's a wheel, a movie wheel that has the end that Bendy stole. If you take that and get him to see it, you would potentially end it. However, the negative to this is you find out there's a lot more going on that as you confront Drew and you end up going back to stage 1. Now, I believe it's in chapter 4, you get a strange device that lets you see secret messages. And when you beat the game and go back to chapter 1, you get to carry this device with you again, which leads to the speculation that you have been going in a loop doing this over and over again, which, well, leads to lots of shenanigan theories of that. And you can take the device and find all kinds of secret messages in the past chapters that strongly suggest you keep reliving through all this over and over again. But is the game really worth replaying for all those? Well, there's a lot of videos that can show you a lot of those secret messages at this point in time, so you can always just do that unless you really want the experience of it. That part be up to you, but again, the aesthetics is what I really liked it about Bendy. They are making a sequel to the game, so hopefully they do a lot more with the game. I'd love to see a little more challenge in everything, honestly, and maybe a dash more survival towards the game, and hopefully a way better balancement when it comes to the chapters, because chapter 1's like virtually like just a few minutes, while chapter 3 is probably one of the longest chapters, honestly, with lots of backtracking and running around. I'd say 3 and 4 are probably the longest, with 1 being the shortest. It's just, there's not a very consistent time between all of them and that. But overall, the whole experience is pretty short, so but that's my thoughts on Bendy and the Ink Machine. Honestly, aside from the aesthetics, I didn't find it the greatest thing in the world. Some people really loved it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, not everyone likes the same thing. It's just, I kind of wished for a little more survival type-esque. Because, I mean, it has survival elements where you hide from creatures and shit, but dying has literally no real penalty, since most of the revive stations are either really close by or, you know, it's easy little jog to get back to where you was. Like, there's hardly any real penalty at all. It's virtually nothing. Just a small jog to get back to where you was in most cases. So it really just makes you wonder why it even had any to begin with, really. I mean, in cases of, like, Chapter 3, I wouldn't necessarily say start you all the way. I mean, it has save stations, so I don't know why it didn't just make you, like, restart at a save station as opposed, I don't know, just a few of the elements seemed a little odd to me in choices, but that's just me. Either way, if it looks interesting, check it out. I mean, it's not a super expensive game, even if you buy it new, but honestly, I'd wait for it to be around $10 if I was you. But those are my subjective opinions. Anyway, if you feel like you learned anything interesting in this, feel free to leave a like. And if you feel like you learned absolutely nothing interesting at all, feel free to leave a dislike. Feel free. Until next time, thank you for joining me at the Proving Grounds.
どうだった？私の作った朝ごはん。